Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel, and in this video we're going to talk about the characteristics of effective oral communication. Now, for an oral communication to be effective, it has to portray these 7 characteristics, so we call them the 7 C's of oral communication. So the first one I'm going to talk about is completeness. Now, for an oral communication to be effective, there should be completeness, in that said effective communication is complete if the receiver gets all the information he or she needs to process the message and take action. If the message which is being sent is not complete, then the oral communication will not be effective. So for an oral communication to be effective, we say the information which has been conceived should be complete, that it should have everything to make a meaningful or to make a meaning. So for an oral communication to be effective, it has to be complete, that it should have everything it should take for the message to be meaningful. Now let's go to the second point, and that is conciseness. So when you talk about conciseness, keeping your message to a point, that is, it's like being specific. So if you want an oral communication to be effective, your message should be concise and it should move straight to the point, so that the listener will focus on the important point in the message and understanding will be easier. So conciseness as a characteristic of effective oral communication is about you keeping the message to the specific idea of the message, so that the listener will get the understanding perfectly. Now, the third point is concreteness. Now, when you say your message is concrete or a message is concrete, that is concreteness as a characteristic of effective communication. All that it means is that the message should be specific and it should be like tangible. That is, if you say something is concrete, it's solid and it portrays the meaning perfectly. So it says it should be supported by facts and figures. That is, to make your message concrete. When you say something is concrete, it is solid. So for this one, it should be specific and you should make sure that if your message is concrete, then it should portray some facts and some that is going to support it, or that is going to further explain your message well. So for you to send a message to the listener, the message should have other parts, or it should have other part which will be explaining or throwing more light on the main idea or on the central idea. So that's what we say your message is concrete. So once the listener hears the message, or once the listener receives the message, the listener get a full understanding, knowing the idea as well as knowing all the parts of the message which are throwing more light or which are explaining the idea of the message. So he said it helps your listeners gain an overview of the broader picture and reduce the risk of misunderstanding. So once your message is concrete, you have explained, you have added some, let's say you have added some beauty to the message, so that these beauties are going to support the message, to support understanding. They are going to help the listener to get the raw understanding of what you are saying. So that makes concreteness as a characteristic of effective communication. The next one is courtesy. Courtesy as a characteristic of effective communication is in the sense that for a perfect communication, that is oral communication between a sender and a receiver, the sender should consider the receiver's culture. The sender should also make sure that the message he or she is sending is not going to cause any unpleasantry. That message should respect the receiver's culture and should also respect everything about the receiver, so that the receiver, upon receiving the message, will not have any disagreement with the message. So as part of the courtesy, you should make sure that you know the status of the receiver. If the receiver is maybe an elderly person, you have to know the various words you have to use in your message, so that the receiver will find your message respectful. So also the culture, the message shouldn't carry any content that will make the receiver, or that will criticize any part of the receiver's culture. So that makes courtesy as part of the characteristic of effective communication. So courtesy in the sense that your message should always meet the desire of the receiver, in the sense that you shouldn't let the message contain any content that will make the receiver feel disrespected. That is it. And also, courtesy and consideration, they complement each other in effective communication, but they are two different points. So there is for courtesy, and now let's move straight to clearness. For a message to be clear, that is, if your message is clear, there is nothing like misunderstanding. So clearness as a characteristic of effective communication here is that your message shouldn't have any words of ambiguities. Once your message is conveyed, the listener should be able to know directly what the message is being asked for or what the message means. There shouldn't be any language used which will cause ambiguities and confusion. That is why you say your message is clear. So clearness deals with removing all ambiguities from your messages. Now, let's move to correctness. When you talk about correctness deals with the grammatical aspects of your message. An error in your grammar can change or distort the meaning of the message. So if you talk about correctness as a characteristic of effective communication, then it means that you should use correct grammar that will enhance the meaning of the message you are conveying. So that is correctness. You shouldn't use wrong vocabularies. You shouldn't use wrong the tenses. So that will cause your message to be incorrect. So for the correctness or for an oral communication to be effective, you should make sure that your message has correct grammatical use or use of words. Now let's move to the next one, which is consideration. So consideration, which complements courtesy here, they move hand in hand as part of a characteristic of effective communication, is in the sense that you should take into account of the listener's background. You should make sure that you will first survey the listener's background before you send a message. The reason is, assuming you are a worker and you are communicating with your boss orally, so you have to know that your boss is an early person, and or even if his status is higher than you are, so your message should always contain elements of respect. Also, you have to consider if you are of different religion. Your message shouldn't carry any element that is going to cause disagreement or confusion in the listener's understanding. So this is the 7C's of communication. In summary, we have completeness, concreteness, courtesy, correctness, clarity, consideration, and conciseness. This is the end of my video. Thanks for watching, and kindly subscribe to my channel to get similar videos of this kind. Thank you.